Okay, what's up YouTube? This is Rob, and I'm going to be doing a clean strip phosphoric prep and etch review, and the piece I'm going to be using it on is going to be this piece right there. Look at that. That is a rusty piece of metal. Wouldn't you agree? Let's get a close-up. Nasty, huh? Nasty. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to soak this in the phosphoric acid and etch for about a day, and I'm actually going to dilute it 50-50 because I'm running just a little bit low. So let me go ahead and make the mix, and then I'm going to put it in there. So now here you can see the green in the water, and that's from the dilution of this phosphoric etch. So I added some of this phosphoric etch in there, acid, and I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna come back in a couple hours. We'll check it out, and then come back tomorrow and see how this is coming along. All right, see you then. Okay, so it's been maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I actually did the dishes. I got no more dishes in there, which is good for me. And in the time I was doing the dishes, you can see, look at the foam. You see the foam, how it's starting to foam right there? I think that's a really good sign, and you can see that it's going to work, and it's actually getting bigger. Oh, did you see that bubble? That acid is probably pretty nasty stuff. That bubble is getting pretty big right there, and I can actually see that foam. This foam is getting larger too. It's actually expanding, which means it's probably penetrating that rust and going to get it out. I just want to do a little test here, and I actually did it a second ago, and I thought I better film it. But you can see that spot right there. I actually was able to just push that off with my finger, so I'm going to try this again with this phosphoric etch, and we'll see. So I'm just rubbing, and you can see it's starting to come off. You see that? And then we'll just keep going with this piece right here. So as you can see, I mean, that looks pretty good. I mean, this piece is probably going to come out spick and span when we're done, hopefully. It's going to save my ears from grinding. But that's probably about 10 minutes in, and you can see here how I already kind of penetrated it. And it's starting to soak in. So we'll come back and check in a little bit. Okay, so I'm basically like a little kid. I've actually flipped over this piece, and this is what I saw on the bottom side, was all that foam and stuff, which to me means, you know, that's a good sign. So and it's bubbling again. See that bubble right there? So I'm going to flip this back over, and you can see the rust on this edge right here too. I mean, that's pretty brutal rust, and it's actually starting to come clean a little bit. And you can see how frothy. See how frothy this is? I mean, this is working well. This is working really well. So I'm going to put it back on this side. There we go. Actually, you know what? I'm going to flip it back just so I know that it's all going to be submerged. That's better. See, now that thing is totally submerged, and now we'll come back in a little bit. Look at that little froth etch acid dip. Brutal. So here is the next morning, about 12 hours into it. The manufacturer says to leave it for a full 24 hours for best results, but you know, I always want to just check it and see how things are coming along. And I can see already that the paint is already flaking off a whole bunch, and you can see it in the mix
in the dilution mix that I made that the paint already is flaking off in whole. So I'm just going to rub my finger through it and see, if I can get more of this paint off, which I'm sure I can. See, look at that. Look at that just flaking off. And after full 24 hours of this, I mean, this left me with a very, very pristine piece of sheet metal on this side. No rust whatsoever on this side, and it looks brand spanking new. So I'm just going to flip it over, and this is the really bad side, which was 100% covered in rust and was completely nasty. And it's looking pretty good to me. I mean, look at that bottom edge. It's like brand spanking piece of new metal. So I'm just going to rub my finger in it, see if I can remove a little bit of rust or maybe loosen it up a little bit, which I do. And, if you have a wire brush, even better, you would even penetrate it even faster. But overall, I'm very pleased with this phosphoric acid and etch, and I really would recommend it to anybody who wants to use it at all. I mean, this stuff's awesome. So I'm just rubbing my finger through it to remove some loose particles. And here are the finished product. On the right side, that piece I only let sit for about 12 hours. The left side I let sit for a full 24 hours, and all the paint is gone, and it leaves me with a very nice piece of metal to paint and prime and pour 15. And it's like a brand new piece of metal. So on the right side, on here again, this is the really rusted, corroded side. Tiny bit of flash rust after, but overall, look at that piece of metal. I mean, you can't go wrong with that, with dipping those for 24 hours. I mean, I'm just going to clean that up. I'm going to prime it, paint it, pour 15 it, and I just saved myself an hour's worth of grinding and a headache from all of the grinding and dust and rust that I would smell.